Sofia Martinez sat in her car, mascara streaming down her face as she stared at the corporate building she had just fled. The events of the past hour replayed in her mind like a cruel movie. She couldn't shut off. The board meeting, the whispers, the dismissive glances, and finally the devastating words from her supervisor that shattered her professional confidence. Perhaps if you focused less on your appearance and more on your work, people might take you seriously. Around here, 6 years of dedicated work, countless late nights, and exceptional results, all reduced to a superficial judgment about her appearance. Sofia had faced subtle discrimination before, but never this explicit, never this public. Colleagues who had once been allies sat in silence, their eyes averted as her contributions were dismissed. No one defended her when the supervisor suggested her recent promotion was due to her looks rather than her accomplishments. She wiped her tears, took a deep breath, and made a decision that would alter the trajectory of her life. She would never again allow someone else to define her worth. It wasn't just that day, Sofia would later explain in interviews. It was death by 1,000 cuts, comments about how I must have charmed the client, questions about what I was wearing to presentations, male colleagues taking credit for my ideas while simultaneously asking me to be the face of projects. The morning after the humiliating board meeting, Sofia drafted her resignation letter. Her hands trembled as she typed, not from fear, but from a newfound clarity. She had outgrown an environment that refused to see beyond her exterior. Her parents were concerned when she told them of her decision. "You're giving up a stable position because of one bad day?" Her father asked over dinner at their weekly family gathering. "It wasn't one bad day, Dad," Sofia replied quietly. "It was one day I finally decided I deserved better." Sofia's first weeks of unemployment were not filled with self-pity but with research. She transformed her apartment's spare bedroom into a makeshift office, covering the walls with market analysis charts, competitor profiles, and business model drafts. She had identified a significant gap in the digital marketing space. Mid-sized companies were either underserved by giant agencies that prioritized bigger clients or poorly served by smaller firms without sophisticated analytical capabilities. During this period, Sofia reconnected with Elena Diaz, a former colleague who had left Turner and Global a year earlier after experiencing similar prejudice. Though for different reasons, Elena, brilliant with numbers but often overlooked due to her quiet demeanor, had been working freelance. Sofia's first weeks of unemployment were not filled with self-pity but with research. She transformed her apartment's spare bedroom into a makeshift office, covering the walls with market analysis charts, competitor profiles, and business model drafts. She had identified a significant gap in the digital marketing space. Mid-sized companies were either underserved by giant agencies that prioritized bigger clients or poorly served by smaller firms without sophisticated analytical capabilities. During this period, Sofia reconnected with Elena Diaz, a former colleague who had left Turner and Global a year earlier after experiencing similar prejudice. Though for different reasons, Elena, brilliant with numbers but often overlooked due to her quiet demeanor, had been working freelance. "I have an idea," Sofia told Elena over coffee. "A company that values substance over appearance in every sense of the phrase." Elena studied the business plan Sofia had brought along, her expression shifting from curiosity to excitement. "You're proposing we prioritize data-driven results over flashy presentations," Elena noted. "That's exactly what the industry needs. And we build a culture where people are valued for their minds, not superficial judgments." Sofia added, "No more too beautiful, too quiet, too different, just too good at what they do." 2 weeks later, Inside Edge Analytics was born, initially operating out of Sofia's living room, with 2 laptops, boundless determination, and their combined savings of $47,000. The first year of Insight Edge was brutal. Sofia faced rejection that had nothing to do with her appearance and everything to do with being a new player in a competitive field. Some potential clients couldn't see past her youth. Others were skeptical of her vision for more personalized, analytical approaches. There were nights I questioned everything, Sophia confided to her journal. But then I remember the alternative, going back to being valued for the wrong reasons, and I find the strength to make one more call, send one more proposal. Elena's steady presence balanced Sophia's occasional moments of doubt. Where Sophia brought vision and determination, Elena contributed precision and methodical planning. Their complementary skills carried them through the lean months. Their breakthrough came from an unexpected source, a mid-sized sustainable fashion brand, struggling to connect with consumers despite their ethical practices. Took a chance on Insight Edge after being dismissed by larger agencies. Sophia and Elena immersed themselves in the brand's data, discovering patterns that larger agencies had missed. You've accomplished in 2 months what our previous agency couldn't do in a year. The fashion brand's marketing director told them after their strategy increased engagement by 15%. Word spread. The sustainable fashion brand recommended Insight Edge to other businesses in their network. By the end of their first year, Sophia and Elena moved operations to a small office and hired their first 2 employees, a data analyst who had been passed over for promotions at his previous job despite his innovative approaches, and a creative strategist who had been told she was too academic for creative work. As Insight Edge grew, Sophia remained acutely aware of workplace culture. She instituted blind initial resume reviews, focusing on skills and experience before interviews. She created an environment where team members presented ideas anonymously in their first phase of evaluation, ensuring concepts were judged on merit rather than on who proposed them. We're building the company I wish had existed when I was starting out, Sophia explained to a business journal that featured Insight Edge in its companies to watch section 3 years after its founding. By then, they had expanded to 20 employees and moved to a larger office in the city's emerging tech district. The article noted Insight Edge's impressive client retention rate of 94% and its innovative profit sharing model that rewarded team contributions. What it didn't capture was the personal transformation Sophia herself had undergone. Gone was the woman who had once spent mornings worrying if her attire would be deemed too attractive or not professional enough. In her place stood a CEO who dressed as she pleased, spoke with unwavering confidence, and evaluated others solely on the substance of their character and quality of their work. In Insight Edge's 4th year, an unexpected opportunity arose. Turner & Global, Sophia's former employer, approached with an acquisition offer. The figure was substantial enough to make Sophia and Elena financially secure for life. Sophia's former supervisor, now a senior executive, scheduled a meeting to discuss the details. "We've been impressed with what you've built," he said, his tone noticeably different from their last encounter. "Your analytics approach has disrupted the industry in ways we didn't anticipate." Sophia listened calmly, noting how he now maintained respectful eye contact, how his body language conveyed a professional regard that had been absent years ago. "You know, Sophia," he continued, leaning forward slightly, "I always knew you had potential. Even back then." Elena, sitting beside Sophia, tensed almost imperceptibly. Sophia allowed the silence to stretch for a moment before responding. "Thank you for the generous offer," she said finally. "But Insight Edge isn't for sale. Not to Turner & Global, not to anyone." Later, as they left the meeting, Elena questioned the decision. That was life-changing money. "Sophia, are you sure?" As Insight Edge entered its 7th year, expansion continued with new offices opening internationally. The company launched a foundation providing scholarships and mentorship to promising young professionals from underrepresented backgrounds in technology and analytics. Sophia, now 35, had become a sought-after speaker on both business innovation and workplace equity. When asked if she had forgiven those who had dismissed her earlier in her career, her answer revealed the wisdom earned through her journey. Forgiveness implies I still carry that moment with me, but I don't. It's not part of who I am anymore. That humiliation belonged to a world with flawed measures of value. I've built something better. A business magazine profile described Sophia's current professional style as authoritatively authentic, noting how she had rejected conventional executive image management in favor of genuine self-expression. Her leadership style combined analytical precision with emotional intelligence, creating a rare balance that inspired fierce loyalty among her team. On the 7th anniversary of leaving Turner & Global, Sophia sat alone in her office after hours, reviewing the company's journey through photographs and milestone markers displayed on her walls. The contrast between her tear-streaked departure from one building and her confident leadership in another struck her profoundly. Her phone buzzed with a message from Elena. "Don't stay too late reminiscing. We have that strategy meeting early tomorrow, and I need you sharp." Sophia smiled, typing back, "Just appreciating the view from here." It was worth every step. She gathered her things, glancing one last time at a framed article on her wall, the first major feature on Insight Edge. The headline read, "Analytics firm proves beauty is in the depth of data." The journalist had been unaware of the personal significance behind the company's founding philosophy, but the words had resonated deeply with Sophia nonetheless. As she turned off the lights and walked toward the elevator, Sophia passed a large mirror in the hallway. She paused briefly, meeting her own gaze with quiet confidence. The woman looking back at her was indeed beautiful, not just in appearance, but in resilience, vision, and the courage to define success on her own terms. The elevator doors opened, and Sophia stepped forward into the future she had created, one where no one would ever again be too beautiful or too anything to be valued for their true gifts. Today, Insight Edge Analytics stands as one of the fastest growing companies in its sector, valued at over 200 million. More significant than its financial worth, however, is the cultural impact it has made across industries. Other companies have begun adopting variations of Insight Edge's blind evaluation processes and performance metrics, recognizing the competitive advantage of minimizing bias. For Sophia Martinez, success isn't measured in acquisitions or awards, but in the stories she hears from her employees, people who found at Insight Edge a place where they could finally thrive without diminishment. "What happened to me was not unique," Sophia reflected in her recent TED Talk. "Every day, talented individuals are reduced to single attributes that others find easier to process than their complexity. Sometimes it's beauty, sometimes it's age, accent, background, or any other surface quality. What is unique is what we choose to do with those moments of reduction." She paused, looking out at the audience before continuing. "We can accept the limitations others place on us, or we can build spaces that recognize the full spectrum of human capability. The choice isn't always easy, but it is always ours." As the audience rose in standing ovation, cameras captured what had become Sophia's signature expression, not a practiced corporate smile, but the authentic joy of someone who had discovered that the greatest success comes not from fitting into flawed systems, but from having the courage to create better ones. Her journey from humiliation to innovation had come full circle. The woman once dismissed as too beautiful had transformed that painful moment into a movement that was changing the very definition of professional value, proving that true beauty lies in the courage to rise above limitation and create space for others to do the same. And in that transformation, Sophia Martinez had not only built a company, she had built a legacy. So that was the video. I hope you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, comment what you thought of the video, and share. Until the next video.